Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Dr. Anissa Astrid SDMPD as a lecturer seminar on research proposal subject. Please let me introduce first before I explain my research proposal. My name is Ayu Mesuli. I'm from PBI3 students, and in this video I would like to explain my research proposal. And my research proposal, the title is The Effect of Intellectual Intelligence on the English Learning Achievement of the 8th grade students at Junior High School PGRI Bitung. And for the reasons I conduct this research because based on the research, intellectual intelligence on student English learning achievement at Junior High School PGRI Bitung is an interesting thing to study because some students at Junior High School PGRI Bitung, especially in 8th grade, have a fairly low intellectual intelligence, which is found when the learning process of these students is slow in understanding learning materials and often have difficulty solving problems during the learning process. Of course, this also affects achievement in learning English, and it is also strengthened by several previous studies that the level of a person's intellectual intelligence can affect their learning achievement. And for the research problem, in this research, the formulations of the problems in this study are as follows. First, how is intellectual intelligence of 8th grade students of Junior High School PGRI Bitung? And then, how is English learning achievement of 8th grade student at Junior High School PGRI Bitung? And then, the third is there is an effect of intellectual intelligence on the English learning achievement of 8th grade students at Junior High School PGRI Bitung. So, in this research, there are 3 research problems. And then, for the research objective, the research objectives based on the formulations of the problems are as follows. First, to find out the intellectual intelligence of 8th grade students at Junior High School PGRI Bitung. And the second, to find out the English learning achievement of 8th grade students at Junior High School PGRI Bitung. And the third, to determine the effect of intellectual intelligence on the English learning achievement of 8th grade students at Junior High School PGRI Bitung. And in this research, there are 3 research objectives. Okay, for the research methodology, there are 5 components in this research. Okay, for the first is research design, and the second, research sites and participants, and the third, data collections, and the fourth, analysis the data, and the last or the fifth, validity and reliability. And okay, I will explain it one by one. Research design. This research study used the quantitative method. Quantitative research or method is research whose data can be interpreted in the form of numbers and analyzed through statistical techniques. The research method is carried out with the aim of researching and analyzing samples from certain populations using research instruments with the aim of hypothesis set in quantitative method. This is according to Sugiono 2003 on page 35 to 36. And then the type of research conducted in this type of research is ex post facto. The independent variable in this study was in the form of intellectual intelligence or IQ, and the variable or dependent variable in this study in the form of English learning achievement. So, in this research, there are 2 variables. First, intellectual intelligence or IQ, and the second variable or dependent variable is English learning achievement. Okay, research site and participant. This research was conducted at Junior High School PGRI Betung on 8 PIR Street, number 1 Tajaraya Environment, 3 Rimba Asam Village, Banyuasin Regency. I taught 2 classes from 8th grade in junior high school students at PGRI Betung. I chose this school as the object of my research because it is an ideal school for students with an effective learning model. And then the method used in sampling in this study, non-probability, namely convenience sampling. According to Sugiono, 2015, convenience sampling is a type of sampling methods using the technique of choosing samples freely according to the wishes of the researcher. Like the participants in this study, there were 30 students in one class at Junior High School PGRI Betung. Because this study took 2 classes, so the number of samples is 60 students taken from grades 8.1 and 8.3. This school has an enthusiastic spirit in learning English. Okay, next, data collections. In this research, for data collections, there are 2 techniques to collect the data. For the first, questionnaire, and the second, intellectual intelligence test. For questionnaire, in this study, using the questionnaire technique with Likert scale, Submergent, Sulganev 2008 on page 166, argues that the definitions of questionnaire is a series of written questions that are structured to reveal the independent variable, namely intellectual intelligence. The right technique is to use the questionnaire techniques in collecting data in this study. And for the intellectual intelligence test is one type of test that can be used to measure the small or large level of intelligence of a student through various assessment and evaluations, which consist of daily exam, midterm exams, and final semester exam, as well as assessment, especially in English lessons. This test has very important use in IQ tests. For analysis the data, there are 2 techniques. For the first, descriptive statistical analysis, and then coefficient of determinations or R-square. Okay, for descriptive statistical analysis, this research used descriptive statistical analysis as a data analysis technique. In this study, descriptive statistical analysis is a type of statistic that is often used in data analysis techniques that have the role of describing or interpreting the data that has been achieved without a valid conclusions to be generalized. This is Sarwono argue in 2006 on page 143. And for the second, coefficients of determinations or R-square. Okay, this study uses the coefficients of determinations, where the coefficients of determinations has a role in measuring how far the ability of the independent variable to interpret the dependent variable that is according to Ghazali 2006, and when he coefficients of determinations reflect a value of 0, then it shows that there is no influence between the independent variable and the dependent variable. However, when the coefficient of determinations is getting closer to 1, that it can only be said that the independent variable has an influence on the dependent variable. Okay, for validity and reliability. This validity test, the researchers took to test whether this research is valid or not, and also to test whether each of the questions contained in the questionnaire can measure according to wishes of the researchers from what he wants to measure. If the correlation coefficient value of what is being studied show a significance of 0.3 from each question's item, then the research is declared valid. And in this case, it can also be applied to the distributions of the questionnaires. This is according to Solomon 2007 on page 59. Okay, and then this scale is very important, used to measure intellectual intelligence and learning achievement using an interval scale. The correlations used in this study is Pearson's correlations. Okay, while the reliability test in this research study is statistical test that aims to measure the consistency of the research measuring instrument or questionnaires. In this study show Cornbridge alpha value. This is more than 0.6, and then respondent is declared reliable. This is according Ghazali 2009 on page 73. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation about my research proposal. Thank you so much for your attention. So sorry if I have many mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.